It's November 8th, 2019, and it's episode 16 of Plane Savers. Down Under, or as one of my subscribers has said, the Great Southern Land. So we're back here at Caboolture. We've been back a couple of weeks now because, as mentioned earlier, I had to get work done in the car, and that did hold me back getting a few things or visiting a few places. We did, that's the peanut gallery, Jeffrey having a go, the maid having a go. We did over 5,200 kilometres, that's 3,200 miles in just on 3 and a bit weeks. So we had a rather leisurely trip and gave us a chance to see a lot of things. So it was most enjoyable from my point of view. What we'll do now is we'll follow this introduction up with a chat with Ralph Kuzak, who has been the driving force behind this restoration, who owns the aircraft and started it off, and then we'll climb through the aircraft and get you having a good look inside. Good morning, we're back in the Beaufort hangar, and you can see she's been undressed again this morning. Much more's been taken off. Now today we're going to have a talk with Ralph Kuzak, the gentleman behind the Beaufort restoration. So we'll wander over to Ralph's hangar, I suppose we can call it a hangar, but his little office, and we'll have a chat with Ralph about the Beaufort restoration. Good morning, Ralph. How you going? So you're live, and we'll have a few questions for you.
Yep.
Hey, when did you first consider restoring an aircraft?
When I could afford to buy a wreck.
Fair enough. That's a fair answer.
1984, I think.
Oh, okay then. The Beaufort's a large twin-engine aircraft. Why did you decide on such a big aircraft, and why the Beaufort?
Well, by accident / it was there.
It was there.
Yeah.
Okay then. I suppose that's just fair enough.
Yeah,
What, did you just drive past it and say, "Oh"?
No, I went to see the Beaufort or an Anson.
Mm-hmm.
But the Beaufort was there, or a Kingfisher. So I thought, well, I don't know. The Beaufort was Australian, Kingfisher was American, and that was basically what I chose.
Oh, fair enough then. That's okay then. Thank goodness you did. It's the only one around.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to find the initial remains that would prove to be a viable restoration? I think you might have just answered that. You were driving around and saw something and said, "That'll do."
Yeah. Oh well, there was going to be a show pony up till about 2007, and the sky fell and hit me in the head and said, "Well, why don't you fly it?" Well, that was a mistake.
Because of a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing with a big aircraft, that there's a lot of money with all the engines and everything, isn't it?
People said you couldn't do it. Well, they may or may not be right.
That's the worst thing you can say to anyone. You can't do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Me.
The photos of the wreck that were recovered from Mildura show that the remains were essentially only the cockpit and the fuselage. Where did you source other major parts from, such as the wings and tails?
When we decided to fly it, we only had one wing, so we had to find another wing. We ended up finding, or collecting, 6 wings, of which we got enough to fly one aeroplane.
Oh, 6, gee. Well, that's just all over Australia, or?
No, they all come out of New Guinea.
Oh, okay then.
The War Memorial kindly let us have the spar caps off their aircraft. swap hours for theirs. That was for the wing centre section. The fin come out of New Guinea.
What about the tail planes? Were they?
They come out of a place in Victoria on the Pacific Highway coming out.
Oh, okay.
The place now.
So virtually come all over the things.
Yeah.
Parts of the restoration have been sourced from all over. Okay, you've given us some examples. Has anything come from overseas at all? From England or anything, like where the Beaufort was originally built?
No, nothing from England. How are you? Good. Yeah, boss. Yeah, my boss.
God. This is Jeffrey, one of my colleagues. He's the maid. See, he sucks up to the boss with biscuits and tea. Okay. What are some of the major hurdles that have had to be overcome to get the restoration this far?
Volunteers.
That was Heidi.
The peanut gallery.
Now we'll get back into it again. There's the peanut gallery there. Yeah. So what are the major hurdles that have been overcome so far?
The two major hurdles are the brakes.
Yep. Are they Orion? Someone said to me,
wheels.
okay. Someone said to me they were offering Orion or something. Is that
Yeah,
right?
They're P3 Orion wheels and brakes.
Oh, okay then. Why did we go down that road? What was wrong with doing the original?
The originals are available. One, they're pneumatic brakes, which the bags are hard to come by. Plus, the more important thing are the tyres. The tyres are just made of unobtainium, they're just not around.
Oh.
I spoke to the manufacturers and they will not make them for any price. So we had to find a tyre.
Fair enough then. Do you see any major hurdles to be overcome between now and getting it finished? It looks, structurally it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the only hurdle I've got is longevity.
Yeah, we're how long before we're all flying with the Angels, let alone flying aeroplanes? The port wing is steadily progressing to completion. Has that been a complete build from scratch?
No, they're all wings that have been stripped out. We built jigs obviously in the first place.
Yep.
With undamaged wings. But then we had spark cap problems. We had to solve that. We've solved it with originals. That's the left hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on the mend again.
Okay. How long do you think before that port wing might be completed, ready to go on?
Well, with the rate we're going now, VL time. But what I intend to do is sell the Dub and the Tiger Moth, put the money back into the Beaufort.
Oh, okay then. Fair enough. Ooh. Other than the engines, are there any other major components that need to be found or built?
No, nothing at all.
Okay.
The major component we've got to find now is dollars.
Oh, okay then. Looking at the outer view, and most of it seems to be done. Under the skin, the electrics, hydraulics, instruments, what stage are they at?
The hydraulics are all done but not fitted. Electrics are probably 50-55% done. What was the other one?
Instruments.
Instruments. They've all been done, but they've got to be revisited.
Okay. So the guys in the instrument shop are actually build everything up in there as well as...
No.
Oh no, okay.
They've got to be done by authorised people.
Oh, okay then, fair enough then. Okay, and the last question, the piece of string question. If the funding, the appropriate licensed personnel and enough volunteers were available, how long do you think it'd take to finish the aircraft off?
2.5 years.
Oh, okay then.
No, it's just strictly dollar driven.
Yeah.
Throw money at it, well, it'll be ready.
Fair enough.
It's going to be the only one in the world, so.
Well, that's the major part of it too, isn't it? Yeah, that'd be great if we can get this one, won't it? Okay then, Ralph, thank you very much, sir, for your time. I appreciate that. I hope all the viewers...
Finish a cup of tea.
You can finish your cup of tea and I'll get out of your hair and the peanut gallery will leave us in peace. Thanks, Ralph. See you, mate. I've got to go and do some work now too. Now, before we go on and climb into the aircraft, I want to correct a statement I made earlier. I thought these were for fuel tanks. Here's the beaten part, the outside of the tank. But in fact, these are oil tanks. So that gives you a look at the baffles inside and the construction of the oil tank. So I was wrong. They are not fuel tanks. They are oil tanks. And that's a great example of what workmanship's going into doing these. Okay, we'll climb up into the aircraft now, and I will try and be a little bit delicate. It's going to be possibly, I hope not too much, grunting and groaning, because it's very constricted. How, for example, you took a pilot who was injured out of his seat and you changed them over when they're wearing May Wests and life preservers and everything else is beyond me. Very cramped. So we'll start up here at the front of the aircraft in the nose gunner's position. Now this seat is, we slide the pin, if I can get it to work. Hang on, we're there, so we can slide the pin out and the seat rotates round. But I'm just standing here, and to be honest, there's not much room to swing this out. So I will show you this area at the back here, behind the instrument panel for the cockpit. Here's all your hydraulic lines running out. As Ralph said, a lot of it's done, or it's all done, but it's yet to be fitted. There's wiring done, and here is the business end of the twin 303s out the front of the aircraft. And I'm trying to give you as good a look as I can, and I'll try and jump up out of the well that I've come through and spin this chair out of the way. So I'll turn this off for a minute because I've got to jump up here, and we'll go on. And I'll come up, that's the hatch I come up through. I've swung the seat out so you can see how little room there is in the front of the aircraft. And with the table there, it's going to be very hard to operate those guns terribly efficiently. So that's the forward position. You see most of the perspex has been done, but there's still a way to go yet. So we'll come in here, I'll turn off again for a minute and get that seat out of the way, and we'll go through the cockpit. Again, because there's so little room, I'm going to have to struggle a bit trying to get in here and show you. But here we are in the cockpit. I'll try and keep the glare out of the way too, so you get a better idea of the cockpit and the instrumentation that's all in place already. As you see, with such a big aircraft, it's a major undertaking. Like Mikey with the C-47, a big aircraft, dual engine aircraft or multi-engine aircraft. The effort, the cost and the time involved are quite incredible. So there we go down. Pedals haven't been connected yet, with the control columns there and the control wheel. Here's the pilot seats. Here's your throttle and mixture controls down here. Again, I'll try and get up a bit to show you a bit more. And that more. We have a dicky seat here, which you can climb up on, which is not there at the moment. Right, and here's your tank selection for your fuel tanks. Your hot air out of the engines. We've got a protection up there on the radio mast. Now I will turn this off because when I made this video before, getting over here was a pain. So before going into the rear part of the fuselage, here's looking down the full starboard wing that's been attached, still work to go on. Down here over the top again and down onto the port wing, you can see the port wing down there and the work that's being done on rebuilding that port wing over there. One of the 6 that we used to make the new wings for this aircraft. Again, a bit more of a better view from up here, cockpit, and down through there. Okay, we'll come over here and I'm going to have to get over this somehow, so excuse me for a minute. Oh, geez. That hurt. Anyway. Funny how there's always sharp points in aeroplanes. Okay, here's the seat. Right. Now here we go, there's the, looks like the trailing aerials. The oxygen regulators. Different electrics. Not altogether sure what that does. Anyway, here we are. Electrical panel. I can show you some of this from in here, but I'll actually climb up through and come in this hatch here to get a bit better idea of what is happening down here. The carpeted steps do not come as a standard fitting to the aircraft. Anyway, that gives you an idea of what the inside of this aircraft would look like in operation. No cladding. What you see is what you get. A lot of cockpit green. Alright. And we'll go down here again. Without too much thing. So what I might do is try and show what it's like climbing up into the pilot seat, which is no easy feat because you're getting over the top of these throttle and mixture controls down here. So there we are. There's all your controls sitting in the pilot seat. The old-fashioned analog instruments, and there is your view out the side and over the nose. So it's not a great view, and mind you, the masking doesn't help. But there you go. So there's your, we'll go a nice slow thing across the instruments so you can have a good look at them. Down here, your flaps, your undercarriage, rudder trim, aileron trim, engine primer down there, emergency lowering of undercarriage and flaps and tail wheel. So that shows you what they've got to do to get the gear and flaps and everything down. We'll come back up here. There we go. So, as I said, the rudder pedals aren't on yet, but a lot of the work is done. Okay, I'll turn this off while I get out of here because that creates a lot of grunting and groaning, which you don't need to hear. I was going to come up through the hatch on that side. Now that's where we were, inside through there. Now we can have a look through here. Down towards the back of the aircraft, tubes for sending, I suppose, leaflets and other stuff out. That gives you an idea of down the tail end of the aircraft. That round hole there is the basis of where the turret fits in. The turret is basically a separate unit to the aircraft to lift in and lift out. Having worked on it outside the aircraft, it's almost impossible to work out how anyone could do anything on the turret inside the aircraft. One, there's no room, as you can see here. That's the room. There we go. We'll go up a bit and get an idea of the size, the amount of room you've got to drop the turret in. And there's the turret, being typically British, is complicated and way over engineered. But anyway, that gives you a good look at the inside of the aircraft. Again, just to finish off, there we are back up through there where these holes are where the turret bolts in position, and you see it just drops in through there. This is not part of the aircraft, it's work in progress. And we just drop it in, bolt it in place, connect it up to the electrics and hydraulics, and away we go. And then just the Bombay again. Just a quick reminder of what it looks like. And we're out of the aircraft. Give you a quick look at what's happening along here. It looks like they're still doing some work on this bit of leading edge that was here. It's been taken off. It must have, well, there they are over there. So they're all oil tanks, those big ones. Oh, those ones up against the wall, they're the old ones. The fuel tanks are actually integrated in the aircraft. So again, this is where she came from. And this is where she's at. G'day, and welcome to what has been the final episode of Plane Savers Down Under for the time being. We'll be doing some down the track. I want to visit QAM, Queensland Air Museum, about an hour north of here. And then I also want to visit the Aviation Heritage Centre at RAAF Base Amberley, out to the west of Brisbane. And probably in the new year, I'd like to hope I catch up with Ross Pay's group at Vintage Fighter Restorations, the group at Luscantire Restorations, and then also the Evans Head Museum which is where the RAAF bombing range is, which has been there since the Second World War. I'd like to thank everyone who has helped me, shown me around, guided me. The enthusiasm for aviation is alive and well down here. It's very infectious. The people are friendly, helpful. I'll try and stop the wobbling a bit, get a bit carried away with the hand motions. But I've had a ball. I've had the time of my life. It was a trip I've wanted to do for a long time, and I thought I would share it with as many people as I could. So to the people that helped me and showed me around and made me welcome, I thank you very much indeed. It was incredible the way people went out of their way to help me. So thank you. For those of you on YouTube, for those who have subscribed and those who have viewed, you've amazed me, to show interest that's been shown. I think when I added it all up the other day, there's something like about 14,000 views and over 200 subscribers. So that sort of is a bit amazing. So thank you very much for supporting this and showing the interest in aviation down here in the Great Southern Land. If you get a chance to come down here to the lands down under, the Great Southern Land, and across the pond, the land of the long white cloud, please do so. You'll be made more than welcome. There is a lot to see here, not just aviation. There's great scenery in both countries. And we're not a bad group. The guys across the pond, well, yeah, they're not a bad group either. So if you're a local, visit these museums, not only aviation ones, but the local museums in the towns and that on your travels. There is a lot to see and learn. There's history being made and being made. So again, I thank you all very much. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And until next time, see ya.